constitutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the Godfather himself. What's your dad's middle name?
Patricio.
So Patrick?
Yep. Is
that what it would be like in?
Yeah, it would just be Diego Patrick Gavelanes.
Is Diego essentially just Doug?
It's Dent. No, it's not Doug. It's Diego.
What, is the equivalent in English Doug?
I don't think so. I think it's just
Doug Patrick Gavilanes, everybody.
Is it?
Hi, Tony.
Yeah,
Hello, Nico. Happy birthday.
Smile.
Happy birthday, mi hijo lindo. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to play this instrument very well. I'm learning it just for you. I hope you get to see your bank account. Take a look. It'll be a nice little surprise.
Did it stop? Did you stop it?
I stopped it. Little surprise.
Why'd you stop it?
Because it's a perfect point to stop it. Go back and rewind it, and then
It's
just
a nice little surprise.
little surprise.
Count. Take a look. It'll be a nice little surprise.
Oh, Doug Patrick Gavilanes, everybody.
Doug Patrick Gavilanes.
I need to actually check the facts on that.
Definitely not, dude.
James, actually.
Is it really?
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
all said, depending on which theory you believe.
I think I may have known that.
English is James or Jacob or Jake.
Well, Gavilan is hawk. So Gavilanes is hawks.
Several hawks.
It's hawks, just plural. Several hawks.
Dad's name is James Several Hawks.
James Patrick Several Hawks.
Gavilanes is just hawking lugs, dude.
Wow. Yeah, our names, all of our names, my brother's names and I, are pretty lame when they're just Americanized. But in Espanol, they sound gracious.
Well,
Like I'm Julian Paul Gavilanes. But
Julian
out
Paul.
here, I'm
And then what is
Julian
Antonio?
Paul Gavilanes.
Gabriel.
Gabriel and Gabriel Andres Gavilanes. And Tony's is
And his middle name is what? Like the English version is Andrew.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And and Tony's is as well as my dad's Patricio. Antonio Patricio Gavilanes.
Gosh.
Yeah, those are way sexy.
Sturdy, dude.
Yeah, we should have all grown up to be Zorro.
A little present.
What would Alan's be? Do you know your...
It'd be Alejandro, wouldn't it?
Alejandro
What? I don't know.
Stone.
Pebbles.
Esteban Jaime Libe.
Dude, he's needless, dude. That's nice. Esteban Jaime. I have a cousin named Esteban. I guess I didn't know that was Steve.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one, man. I love my cousin Estebs.
He's the Ivy.
Estebs.
Uh,
El equivalente al Allen.
yeah, it's not really giving me any.
No, dude, it's the
It's
most
just
American. It's the whitest name you could possibly have.
Seriously, Alan is a
Alan,
chemical
yeah.
engineer from. Seriously, can you think of any characters that have been in movies that have been Allens that have been cool?
Alan. I mean, Alan Arkin is an actor who's the boss. But other than that, can't. I mean, Tim Allen was Tim Allen. Can't, dude. Allen's in movies. Characters named Alan.
Famous Allens.
Characters. Yeah, the only one I can think of
Named Alan.
is Zach Galifianakis' character in Hangover.
His name was Alan. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, it's a sturdy name. you put stone on the end of it, and it's really brings it home. Because it could be like Alan Gumph.
Look at. Let's give it a big old. This is first one on the list.
Al the toy collector.
Al the toy collector.
Dude, Alan Yaya McLennan.
Al Harper. What was it? But his.
Oh yeah.
They never pronounced his first. They never said his first name
it's just
in
yeah,
The
yeah.
Sandlot. They just said yeah.
Yeah.
They
Look, Al
introduce-
Borland, another
Borland.
one.
Yeah, Al
there you
Capone,
go.
dude, Al Capone.
But all the cool
those are Al-
Als
those
never
are
went by.
Alfonso.
They changed it to Al, like Al Green. I still gotta do, dude. I gotta change my name to Al, then I'll really get the
You
chicks.
start getting the paychecks, dude. Chicks and the checks.
Al Capone, Al Borland, Al Borland.
Al Castone.
Real. Oh look, we got more, dude.
Alan Parrish, dude, that was my favorite one from Jumanji.
Oh, dude, you're totally right, Steve.
I know.
Yesterday we were.
He doesn't even know what he's
But
right
this is
about.
the guy. This is an episode that we had recently. We were talking about how Cheddar Bob was in Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, that's
But
the guy.
he's not. This is the actor.
That's him.
Yeah.
I mixed him up. But what else is he in? He's in. He's in. You look like a boxer. You know that song? Snatch.
Yeah, he's in
Snatch.
Snatch.
Yeah, he's in Snatch.
Yeah. Wow, there's a lot of Allens, dude. Alan Grant, dude, from
Oh,
Jurassic
dude, Al
Park.
Swearingen. There's the Deadwood guy. That's
Yeah, but-
Ian McShane. It's like my favorite actor.
No, there's no Allens that are like. Look at Alan Barrows.
That's the closest you are for sure.
That's
You know,
that's
you
a
look
comp.
like Al right now. Actually, you look like Bill. What's his fucking name?
Cosby.
William no. Billy Connolly from you know the actor Billy Connolly. You look like him right now from Boondock Saints.
no.
Look at young Billy Connolly from Boondock Saints.
Billy.
He the guy that says, "Oh man, you don't need $1 million to do nothing, man. You take a look at my cousin. He's broke. Don't do
No,
shit."
he's the father.
He does look like him.
Look
Young
him from the movie though.
Billy.
No, from the movie.
Just look up.
Billy Connolly from
Boondock Saints.
Billy.
It's
Connolly
like your hat and
from-
your fucking trench coat right now.
Thanks, man. I worked really hard on this outfit this morning. He looks like the Lord.
Lord Savior.
Oh yes, man. I've been thinking about the goat. Been thinking about this groove right here.
Have you?
Yeah, just the soul patch, the little
Just like the
run-
long.
runway
Would
strip.
you do a long and twisty, or would you just keep it stirred? Would you just keep it like replenishing downward?
You mean like there's a length that just it becomes real bad, for the soul patch.
Well, not if you just commit and go hard. Just get it, like grow it out at least 6 inches.
Yeah, totally. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll know that's me right there.
Exactly.
I just need a stogie.
Yeah, that's
I need
a nice
a cigar.
look.
Oh, you fucking bastards! Is that a good impression, Steve?
Dude, you nailed it.
Oh, you fucking bastards! I'll fucking lay lead in your bodies and piss on your mother.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, dude.
That's my
Yeah.
Scottish or Irish.
Irish.
Oh, I'll fucking spit on the ground your daddy was buried in, you pissant motherfuckers.
Yeah, Irish.
Nice, dude.
Nice, dude. You're cast.
It's pretty much impossible for me to do an Irish accent and not swear.
It seemed like you couldn't help but move your body while you were doing it too.
My neck kind of moves like a little like I'm got, Lou Gehrig's disease or something.
Yeah.
I don't think you can actually, in order to, you know how we have like citizenship tests in America, right? You in order to become a legit citizen, you have to take like a gnarly test that no actual American citizen could pass.
Yep.
I've heard, actually, this is truth, in Ireland, it's just you just have to utilize profanities in the right, proper way. Signed, sealed,
Come
delivered.
on.
Oh,
No
I'm
chance.
fucking in then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
fuck it.
and then
Let's
just
do
drink.
it.
Then just drink a half gallon of Guinness
Dude, that's awesome.
in one
Well,
gulp.
We know Julian's in then.
Oh yeah,
Crummy.
dude.
He's
Remember that?
proven it.
Seriously, Jeremiah Paul Donis can drink like 900 in a night.
Jeremiah Paul Donis.
Yeah, wasn't it? Who looked it up? That The Guinness only has like 3% alcohol.
I knew that.
in
I
it?
told you guys, and you
Yeah.
guys were like, no chance.
I didn't. I absolutely not
That's
think
like one.
that was
That's
possible.
like one of the things I learned as a bartender. One of like the 2 things I learned when I
What
was.
were the top
bartending.
3 things you learned as a bartender?
Get hammered drunk.
While bartending?
For like the first 10 years, that was my go-to for sure.
How many bars have you been fired from?
I mean, I think all of them. A lot. I
Tell them about the tequila bar you were working at.
Oh my god, dude!
Christmas
I worked at this. No, that was not even the tequila bar. The tequila bar was honestly like the coolest send off of a firing I'd ever had. The Christmas party was another one, dude. They're all super bad, but this one time I was working at this tequila bar called Dos Caminos. It was like right in Midtown, and I had just gone through a breakup, and I was feeling all messed up and crazy, and I was getting super drunk, and I was like probably on my way out from this bar as it was, but I had been there for a couple of years, and so I had like woken up with some girl in like Brooklyn, and I had to work this following afternoon. Super hungover, was just like, oh my god, dude, I can't even see straight. And she was like, hey, like there's this really cool place down the block from me that does unlimited mimosas. It's like, you know, Saturday, so let's go drink. And I was just like, oh my god, that's the only thing that's gonna save my life right now.
Unlimited.
Yeah, they do a lot of those like bottomless mimosas
Seems wild.
in New York.
Sounds like
It is wild, especially when you're drinking like I was back then. So we go to this place, we start drinking mimosas. One thing leads to another. It's like I'm got to work at like 4. It's like 3:43, and I got to be in Manhattan in like 17 minutes. Like, oh fuck, I gotta go. I'm like 13 to 26 mimosas deep, just hammered drunk all over again. Show up to this bar job. I'm like nearly blacked out. Go in, don't even punch in, just get behind the bar, rip off the sleeves of my shirt, take somebody's glasses off their face, and start standing up on the bar, grabbing like top shelf tequilas and just drop, like putting it in people's mouths, like open up your mouth, let's go. This is like a family friendly establishment.
It's like an Azteca.
Like yeah, like it's like an olive, truly like an Azteca.
He comes to, he's just at Taco Bell.
Dude, I got down and I
graveyards.
jumped down off the bar after like just I lined up like 25 shots on the bar and I was standing up and skipping and just pouring tequila on the bar top, not making it in any of the shot glasses. And I jumped down off the bar and I kissed this woman that's opposite the bar, and her husband like yanks me and he's just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? And I was just like, quick thinking, JP Paul Donis over here was just like, dude, it's fine, man, let me kiss you too. I had to convince him that I was just like this gay boy who was just like non-threatening. He was like, get the fuck out, get the fuck away from me, and like pushed me off and shoved me all over the place. And finally, dude, I was working for like 3 hours before my managers called me downstairs. All the employees that I was working with were like, Julian, like seriously stop, man, like you're making me laugh really hard right now, but they're gonna fire you. Like you're in trouble.
You're done.
I don't need this job. I got $15 in my bank account. It's gonna be fine. And
I just got a commercial with IMs.
yeah. And so my managers call me downstairs, and again, dude, like I'm so hammered. I go down there, and they're like, Julian, because they really like me too. Like I was like close with all those guys, and like, have you been drinking? I just started laughing like you are right now. Are you fucking kidding me? And they're like, well, look, we have to ask because now it's on record that because we got to fire you, dude. We got to fire you. And I was just like, man, that's fine, dude. I fucking love you guys. Can I still go back over there and have some more beverages if I want to, though? Like, no, dude, get the fuck out of here now. Oh my god, dude, it was so awful. But yeah, then another like Christmas party where there was like 25.
This is a different. That was a Christmas party.
No, that was just a standard,
just
Saturday
a regular
night.
day.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But then the other spot was that you were referring to was the Christmas party. I was doing like a private party for like 25 Asian men. I don't know why or what it was, but I proceeded to get hammered drunk for this party too. And it was in this like private room. And before I knew it, I was like in the corner, like next to the couch, like the sofas, with my shirt off, like thrown around my head.
Yeah.
It's like these like
all men.
tech dudes just hanging out in this room. And it's not even like a raucous party by any means.
Right.
And I'm just getting fucking nuts. And the next thing I know, I'm being like carried down the stairs by the owner and the like 2 bouncers. My girlfriend at the time had to like get called and like have one of the bouncers take me home. It was such a mess. I showed up to work the next day and I was just like, hey,
We're good, right?
I had a shift. So I was just like, hey, what's up? Here I am. He's just like, bro, you're fired.
Bro, yeah.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? It's like, you don't remember what you did last night? It's like, no, of course I don't remember.
So
but it can't.
Didn't
Don't
remember,
fire me,
or you
dude.
did remember.
No, I didn't remember. I mean, I just.
They told you like you got carried down.
Well,
the
you know,
staircase.
I mean, I don't know how many times you guys have blacked out in your lives. I've, unfortunately had it happen a lot of times. But you know, you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh God, what did I do? Like, I hope I didn't do anything too stupid. So you continue living life as like you're not going to be like, I must have done something stupid last night, didn't I? Didn't I? You know, like I knew well enough not to like ask those questions. So I just was like, I was on the schedule for that next day, so I showed up, and you know, still just feeling awful. And yeah, sure enough, the manager was like, "Dude, get out!
Yeah.
Like you're not welcome here anymore." And it wasn't even like a, "Hey, dude, like we fired you last night." It was like, "Dude, don't be here. You're not allowed to be in this vicinity right now. Please turn around." So awful, dude.
Old Jeremiah Pauldonis. How
probably
many of
had-
those spots are still open, you reckon?
That spot is still open.
Still
They're
open.
all actually, I think both of them are closed. The Dos Caminos is closed, but that's like a giant corporate Mexican spot that they have like multiple ones in the city. But I've had like 15 bartending jobs in New York alone.
I went to a Mexican restaurant when I was a youngster. I won't name the name of their Mexican restaurant. I mean, they closed a long time ago, but there was a family-owned business. They were really great. Awesome food. And they would always bring out, you know, traditional salsa chips. And then this, like, beautiful, like, it was like a coleslaw, kind of.
Talking about a person. It's beautiful.
Oh, no.
Coleslaw?
It was like a coleslaw thing. You know, it was like cabbage and cilantro and some, I don't know, oil and vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
So good. And when we start chomping away on it, just rifling away, and my dad gets one up to his, like, this far away and goes, "Oh," and there's a piece of chewed gum.
Ugh.
Like, same color. It's like mint green, you know, like coleslaw is like kind of that green color. He almost had it in his mouth, dude.
Yikes.
And I don't know about you guys, but literally my, like, it's not even a pet. What's a, like a phobia, right? When you're just like, you're kind of irrationally afraid of something. Chewed gum is that for me.
Really?
Yeah, like chewed gum on the edge of somebody's plate. And I,
Like if I did it too? Like
Yeah.
if I, really?
yeah, I hate it.
Whoa.
And my sweet dad is just like, excuse me, Carlos, or I forget the owner's name. And my mom had delivered their children, like helped deliver their children. So every time we came in, they go, "Oh,
Give you the family
give us
discount.
the discounts," you know. He was, I felt so bad. That's the hardest thing kind of for me ever. I've worked in a restaurant before, and so I know how hard that work is. And I've also screwed up a billion times in life.
You've worked in restaurants before?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
You were
I have.
when?
I was a busboy.
I was a busboy.
I also worked at a burrito shop.
I got you a job as a busboy at a place I was bartending at.
Yeah, some of the hardest work I've ever had in my life.
Oh my God.
It
Really?
was super hard.
Really?
Yeah, just being on your feet for like 10 hours a day is not easy.
Yeah.
But whenever something goes wrong, oh God, at a restaurant, I am like, I'm really nervous about saying anything.
Yeah.
Because I know how, like, if I don't like a meal, you know, like if I don't like something, I'm not the kind of guy who's just like, "Hey, heads up, like this is really not good. I don't know what happened here." I have such a difficult time doing that. Do you guys find yourself struggling to
Yeah. I mean, if it's something really bad, then it's like, hey,
Like, what's that level for you? What's that breaking point?
I don't think it's necessarily about like what
some
the breaking point
some
is as much as
sleeveless
about, like,
Ecuadorian jumping around the bar kissing your wife.
I would honestly be like, that was the problem, is that there were like people, half the room was applauding and the other half was like walking out.
Right.
So, you know,
That's
like,
typically the review of
me.
Jeremiah Pauldanis
Yeah.
when he's had too many.
Yeah.
It's like half the room thinks he's the
And,
greatest man
all I'm
alive.
seeing are the people that are like standing up and applauding me.
Yeah.
Yes, dude, people love me right now.
You know how like when you like your drunk jar for like the oh god, this is gonna sound super chauvinistic, but you know when you have too many drinks and like every girl just looks great.
Uh-huh.
So that's what happens with Julian when he gets drunk. Is that he thinks
yeah.
like everybody's his friend. So
Dude,
it's
let
his
me
friend
tell
jar.
you, I've told you guys before, man.
Everybody's so stoked
Oh, yeah.
on me right now.
I've definitely had those beer goggles many a times, dude. Woke up in faraway places next morning, just like, who are you?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's
Uh,
for
What's
them.
What's that breaking point? Like, what have you ever been in a situation where you like pulled the waiter aside and you're like, "Hey, dude, I hate doing this. This is not my MO, and I never do this, but I just like I gotta let you know that like this sopapilla tastes like sopapupo."
This is Sopa Toscana.
Anything?
I'm sure it's happened. I mean, I've had awful service before, but I think it typically comes down to like the approach for me, for like, how am I going to even approach this? And is it worth it? Like, what are they going to do if I do say something? Cause you know, typically the response is, "Oh, comp your meal" or something like that. And I'm not, that's not what I'm hoping for. It's just
Right.
like, what are you really hoping
Yeah,
for
exactly.
to get out of it?
No, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing too, is like, what am I hoping to get out of this? Cause man, the restaurant industry is just barely scraping by when they're at 100% capacity.
Yeah.
If I don't want you to comp my meal, okay? Because I want you to stay open. I want you to be able to get better. I just want you to know, without me having to post it on the internet and having it live there in infamy, that like, you guys suck. This is like really bad. I mean, and
I feel
I
like-
as a human being, I would appreciate a review like that if it were necessary. Like, not this, hey, I want to hurt your feelings, let me leave a review. Because a lot of people just do that. A lot of people just are having a shit day, they want to take it out on somebody else. But if somebody genuinely had like a crap time, it happens to me happened to me with the Valentine's Day bake with that like VIP experience. And I messaged the person back and it's like, thank you, like actually for that review, but how do we do it better? And she's like, well, you just swore a lot. And I was like, lady,
No, that's not a good.
like, come on.
That's not a good.
That's our humor. Like we just, if you didn't know that I was around a bunch of foul-mouthed.
I mean, I guess that's a good thing then, if you got told that it was like that we were just swearing and that was the problem. It's just like, oh, cool. Well, then if she had something more to make sense of what was bad for her, then it would have affected you a little bit more and been like, oh yeah, like, you
If
know,
it was a legitimate thing, like, yeah, you used the word caveat too many times and I don't think it means what you think it does, then I would have been like, okay, yeah, let me go check on that real quick.
Yeah.
But it was just that we said like poop and dick.
yeah.
And
I mean, no,
wiener too much.
I think overall, I don't get up and address people. I have a feeling you could, Steve. You seem to be a pretty assertive dude. I bet you don't mind confrontation in a good, nice way.
Yeah, I mean, constructively, but the times I can think of restaurant-wise, if the food was bad, I probably wouldn't approach it aggressively, but I've had a couple of meals where one was a pizza that had a screw in it, and another one
Did you put it in your mouth to find it?
No, my sister bit it, so I lost it, you know?
You lost it?
I mean, you know, I hit the table and yelled. You know?
Wow,
My
I wish I
sister
was.
bit the screw. You know,
Ooh.
Was it like a bolt or like a screw with like a pointy end?
It was
Let's talk about this. Was it a washer?
Screw. It was a thick screw, like it came out of an appliance.
Yeah, wow.
And my sister bit it. You know, so and then the manager came over and was just a total dick about it. And it was like, dude, okay, well, I'm not gonna knock your fucking teeth out in front of all of these patrons, but
Damn, dude.
You're awful.
You could have called Brinkler and Co. and got a law settlement, dude.
How in that moment are you capable of being a dick? Like, what did the manager say?
Basically, it was like you put it in the pizza.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pretty much totally. I was like, because I was like mad, and he came over and was like, dude, my sister straight up just bit a screw in this pizza, and we're like celebrating her college graduation or something, and it was a nice place, and the guy was just like, oh, well, maybe you put it in there because we didn't want to float the bill for a large pizza and a pitcher of beer.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? And it was like, all right, bro.
What?
So my mom kind of had to walk me out.
What a dumb thing to say.
Yeah. And then another one was we were at another fancy place, and there was actual glass in a friend's drink because the glass that they poured and brought to the table was chipped.
Right, yeah.
So there was a bunch of glass in it, and she took a sip and then freaked out because she's like, I think I just chewed glass, and was like, we don't know if she swallowed it or not.
Oh.
And, and that was a different case because we were more like worried in the restaurant. I was like, should we call an ambulance? And that was different.
Yikes.
But like, again, going back to like, if the food is bad, I wouldn't be upset about it. But like, they had a bad meal, something went wrong, they didn't salt it. It is what it is.
Oh, dude, that was the worst. That was the worst thing.
But negligence is different than like not salting.
Yeah, the cup, the glass cup thing is a screw is like crazy.
Yeah.
But breaking the man, I had one such. The tough part is, like I said, I've worked in restaurants and I've done things that were like, I'm like 4 or 5 hours into a shift. I'm exhausted. I'm like barely getting paid minimum wage. I remember one time I like was making a lady a burrito and I dropped a tortilla on the ground in front of her, like just dropped it on the ground, picked it back up and started using it again. Yeah. She's like, excuse me. Dude. I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I've been an airhead before. And so it's always really difficult for me to say anything, also because I just hate confrontation too. I'm just a kind of a puss when it comes to that. But, it's interesting.
Well, I fully believe people shouldn't be allowed to eat at restaurants unless they've worked for at least 2 weeks in the service industry, because people can be fucking cunts.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I agree.
I worked at a restaurant once before I moved to New York, and I wasn't a bartender or a server. I was like just a runner or like a busser. I don't know, but I went back to the kitchen one night after I was closing down. They made like a family meal, and one of my friends was a cook there, and he was pulling out one of those gigantic Tupperwares, and it was filled with like diced tomatoes. So like they're wet, right? They're kind of soggy. And he dropped the whole thing down on the ground, and then literally with his hand like swiped it back into this Tupperware thing.
Did it break? Did the glass break?
No, it wasn't glass. It was like a plastic Tupperware. So like the Tupperware like just went upside down, and then he just like scooped it off the floor back into it, and all of that was like for the next day's like food, basically.
Salsa?
Yeah, it was a Boston's pizza. So I was probably putting on like pizzas or pastas or something. It was just like the tomatoes. It was like a big, probably like 15-gallon thing of tomatoes.
I am always kind of like a little bit curious about how many things we eat that we are completely unaware that we eat, that are just like if we knew we were eating them, we wouldn't eat for a week. Well,
your chances are much more enhanced when you're going to low-grade restaurants, but you're going to higher grade.
Right, but like think about this. Okay, so I was thinking about this today because I don't know why I feel nervous about saying this, but I took a COVID test today, and I was negative. But like in that thing, I go, okay, well, it's gone through enough channels. Luckily, I live in a country where there's like enough regulation set up to where when I get a negative result on that test, I can trust it. Like I trust it to a specific degree. Yeah. Right. But if you think about how many things you have to trust in your life just to like get through a day, it is unfathomable. Yeah. Like how many different foods we get from different places, get from different sanctioned organizations that say it's okay to eat, right? Like I'm not a surprise that people don't go off their rocker thinking about like all of the okay, I'm gonna go get fresh vegetables from the store. I'm just gonna trust that Fred Meyer has like some sort of protocol, even though they barely pay their employees minimum wage. Like, do you guys think about that at all, or am I just like?
I mean, I don't.
stressing?
I've just seen it with my bare eyes that like it hasn't been, things haven't been as sanitary or as compliant to the policies that be
Right.
as they should be.
Well, there's just
in my own
there's
experience.
just no possible way to, unless you're making everything on your own and growing everything on your own and like personally, checking all of it. There's just no way to like
Right.
really know.
I mean, it's disgusting too, and like it sounds even more disgusting now because of COVID. But I remember when I worked at that same Mexican restaurant, I was super busy all the time, and we'd get tickets and tickets and tickets to have nightmares of tickets printing, and we'd like run out of glassware, and so you just like get a dirty glass and like put it like
Oh my
it was
God.
a Mexican restaurant, so you literally just like take your fingers and like get the salt off the rims,
Oh my
and then like
God.
put it under like running water, just like for like a second, and then like do it to the next one and like make drinks with it. Like it didn't get cleaned. You just reused a dirty glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awful, man. Like, and I've partaken in that type of shit myself before. And it's not because I'm like maliciously trying to
Right.
like do this thing. It's just like just trying to like keep service in check and not
Yeah.
fall behind. And it's awful, but it's just like, what mama don't know won't hurt her type of thing.
Yeah.
And
What mama does? I really hope that you were saying that too while you grabbed the glass. Like it was just this like creepy little The Rock eye look, and then you somehow turned into Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
What mama don't know don't hurt her. Squeege.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but you just have that like camaraderie with your bar staff sometimes. If there's or whatever staff you're working with. God, I worked with so many people for so long, and I would always be like best friends with the people that I was working with. And then it's just like being an actor and going on set. You're like, we're gonna be best friends for the rest of our lives.
This is funny because have you ever been drunk on set? Because ever
never,
since I've
never.
known you, you've pretty much gotten hammered at every bartending job you've ever worked
Well,
at.
I was a sober bartender
And-
for like 3 years.
Well, yeah, since you like got a handle on your drinking, you
Yeah.
haven't done it. But like there was a good 10 years there where
Oh,
just
yeah.
every couple weeks you'd call me and be like, bro, this has happened.
I got fired. It was
Yeah.
always such
And it was just
such a
like,
drag to get fired.
Just such a spectacle. You've never had a situation like that at a movie set or a movie party or a Christmas party for a movie?
Oh, for sure, movie party. Yeah,
But that's okay, right? Like, is that okay in the industry?
I woke up at University Hospital after the 21 and over rap party.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Nick
you
had to
told
pick
me
me
about
up.
that. That's
I
terrible.
woke up I was like, party, 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 boom, beep, beep,
just on a drip.
beep, and I woke up and there was an IV in my arm, and I'm like,
Did they have a
what the fuck?
tube? Did they have a tube in your wiener?
In my wiener, yeah, it was right in my wiener hole. And I was like, what the fuck happened to me? And the doctor comes in and he's just kind of like smirking at me.
Yeah,
He's just like,
idiot.
bro, you got fucked up. I was like, that's
Well,
it. I
tell-
was like checking my nuts, like seeing if like things had happened to me.
Tell the folks at home the full story, because you got totally like blacked out drunk, but you try to take a taxi home, right? Isn't that the story? In a taxi, if
Yeah.
they don't know where you're going, they have to take you to the hospital, like legally bound to take you to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, like from the question earlier, like no, I've never gotten drunk on set, but honestly, like starting to act and finding like auditions and getting opportunities to act was like my saving grace from not having me drink. It was like the only reason why I wouldn't drink, because I had an audition the next day.
Yeah, it's
or I was
interesting.
going on to set, or I was going to go do something. That was the only place I ever felt like I needed to really actually be professional and not show up like an asshole. But
Because you like really wanted it.
because I wanted it so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, this particular instance was like one of the first movies I had ever done. It was like a big movie that came to Seattle, and I got to be a part of it. And of course, like as the movie ended, we had a rap party out at like this nice place out in Seattle. And yeah, I was just getting super drunk. Like it's all, I remember, there, Miles Teller and like Skylar Astin and Justin Chong, these are guys, it was part of this movie called 21 and Over. They were all there, and I was like, the directors and all these guys were partying, and I was going up and I was like buying people drinks And I was like, Miles, dude, like, let me buy you some drinks, dude. I'm gonna buy you want a pitcher? We're playing beer pong. I'll buy you some beer. He's like, bro, it's like a open tab.
It's an open bar.
I was just like, nah, it's fine, dude. I got you. I was in a movie. He's like, I know. I was in it too, and you were a
movie with
tiny
you.
part, you dumbass.
What was the name of your character in that movie?
Dude, Stoner number 1, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Let's see if we can't get a stoner number 1 pick.
Yeah, so like I got super drunk.
Oh, is this you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're off to the right here.
I got
Great.
yes.
Here's Jeremiah Baldonis in his second debut. I'm so glad.
I got so drunk at the rap party that I was with a girl. I remember my friend, shout out Hope.
Shout out to Hope.
I was with my friend Hope, and she was like a PA on the movie, and I think she was like, we were probably going home together. And I was just like, come on, hop in the cab. And she like probably wasn't ready, hadn't grabbed her jacket or something. And I just bounced, got in the car, and got in this cab. And then he was probably just like, what's your address? And I was like, what?
Wouldn't that be hilarious though if like it just cut to the next scene and Julian gets dropped off in front of a street sign that says it's just spelled out.
Yeah, perfect.
Like he
Thank
gets
you.
oh my god, I can just see it, right? Like he
Down
gets
in
into the
Fife.
car, the guy's like, where are you going, sir? He's like cuts, right? Like fast cut, jump cut, he gets out of the taxi just right in front of the
Straight.
Oh, perfect.
I also, once the movie came out, like a year and a half later, went to the proper premiere party in LA, and got belligerent again, and woke up at Miles' house, and they had drawn on me the same way that I had drawn on the Justin Chan character in the movie. So I had like douche ba written on my forehead, and like I had like a teddy bear like attempted to be glued onto my nuts. It was awful, man. But I deserved it. And then Steve, I saw you that same day, man.
Miles
that
Teller
next
really
day,
had
you
your
would-
back.
Yeah, no, he didn't have my back at all.
Yeah, we were at a nice restaurant in LA, and Julian's just like caked.
Yeah.
Sharpie.
It wasn't yeah. Miles didn't have anything to do with it. Miles' friends were the guys that did it to me.
Sure.
Nah, Miles is a good guy. He's a sweetheart.
How would you know?
Because I've spent time with him since that, and other experiences outside of that. He didn't. I mean, I wouldn't know, honestly.
Totally instigated.
Yeah, he totally instigated it.
That's funny.
Son of a bitch.
Some bitch.
Yeah, that was fun. But no, acting and auditions and working on set has always kept me. I mean, honestly, dude, like the reason for my sobriety was for the purpose of like, if I'm going to do this and I want to level up and I want to like be the person that I say I want to be in this world, then like I need to remove all the things that are hindering me from doing that thing. And the first thing that was hindering me was alcohol. And it was interesting too, because, you know, I'm sure you guys have said it to yourselves a bunch of times where you say, I just like, I need to be doing more of this. I need to be doing more and more and more of this to like get to where you're trying to get to. But for me, I started thinking oppositely and was like, what can I be doing less of? Because there's so many things that we forget to like actually do less of in our lives.
Right, like we only have a finite amount of time, and how much of my time is eaten up by something that I don't need.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that with like TV and movies recently.
You think you do it too much?
Well, I don't think I do it too much, but I just think that like it's not serving a grandiose purpose in my life. Like sitting down every night and watching 3 hours worth of whatever is not ultimately serving the purpose that I want to experience when I'm 50, right?
You
Like,
have this thought after we watched Hamilton? Is that when you came to the revelation that you wasted 3 hours of your life?
Yeah.
no, I mean, I didn't waste. It's not, that's the bugger about it. It's like, it's not a waste. At this point in my life, I don't waste any time. Like, I really don't. I think probably the only time you could maybe on a gavel, what's the term, a gavel and pose? I don't know. Anyways, I sit on the toilet and like scroll through. That's when I get my social media, and I'm like, other than that, not on social media. So like in the morning when I'm, fixing to blow, I grab my I'm fixing to burst a bubble out the back end of my tail pocket.
I see.
Crystal and the porcelain throne.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I sit on the phone and I'm definitely on the toilet longer than I need to be because I'm like looking at emails, checking the gram, dude, checking the book,
your likes,
popping onto Zillow, seeing if there's any more interesting properties nearby that I can't afford. And so that's probably I'm acting like I'm self-righteous here, maybe sounding self-righteous. I definitely waste time, I'm sure of it, but in comparison to like when I was 26, I don't do that. But as of recent, like TV, movies, television shows, but it's such a man, after a full day of, you wake up at 6 with your kid, you got like a full day of work, you're cooking, you're putting the kid down, like, God, my energy levels, I'm like, I don't want to do anything but just like sit down, shut my brain off and veg on something. But in reality, my only legitimate free time is after my son goes to bed. And I utilize that free time to like accomplish nothing.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about that lately.
Yeah. I didn't detail my scope of that as much as from recognizing that the thing that I could be doing less of was drinking, because if I pulled that away, a lot of other things were going to come into play from that as a result of that thing.
Totally.
And it worked. It was like so revelatory for me. It was like, oh my God, this changes everything for me, especially based on the behavior that I was exhibiting prior to making that decision. So
yeah.
But I think it's a good thing to ask yourself sometimes, like, what can I be doing less of? Because it's just like, as a capitalistic culture of people who just like want to keep doing more and more and more and more and more to get more done, trying to figure out like, and it's something that can fuck you up too, is like, oh, I'm going to be doing less so that I can do more. And that kind of became my attitude too. I was like, all right, I'm going to substitute drinking for like productivity. And now I'm going to fucking just like go. And so when you say, like, I've been thinking about, my intake of television stuff. First of all, it's like, it's not a lot at all. And it's totally, like a healthy dose. Is it? I don't know.
Like I was watching, not that I aspire to be Bill Gates, but I've watched several interviews where Bill Gates is like, I just had to give up TV. I had to give up TV. And how do you accomplish all the things that you've done? Bill Gates is a freak. Like, he's a freak of human experience, right? Like he invented something when he was a teenager that changed the course of human history forever. Yeah. And I think in an interview, somebody's asking, like, how do you get all this stuff done? Right? Like, how does Elon Musk be a CEO of 19 different companies and put rockets in the solar system and do interviews and think about like different engineering projects? Well, he doesn't have any more hours in the day than I do. So obviously, like, he's incredibly talented. He has probably a leg up in the IQ than I do, but I guarantee he's not like rewatching Office. No,
not at all. And I'm sure he just like actually doesn't have time to do that either, which it's like not necessarily even by choice.
I mean, at this point, he has time to do whatever he wants. He's the second richest man in America.
Yeah, but that doesn't, I doubt that gives you more time to do whatever you want.
He could literally,
of course, he could. Like, so could you, if you like. Anybody could.
Out. Absolutely not.
Well,
none of us in this room could
do
tap
anything they wanted to do.
You can't. None of us could tap out and just like watch movies and just do jack shit for the rest of our life. Like, none of us are in a financial position, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, that we could just go. I guess I just kind of want to make canoes.
Right. I guess my argument is that, like, yes, although he's one of the richest men in the world, it doesn't mean like that he just is awarded now like the time and space to do anything he wants. Of course, he could choose to do that, but that would probably be very ill-advised from his staffers.
I'm sure, but he doesn't answer. Who does he answer to? He answers to himself.
Me.
Like, you get to the point in your 50s where you have built what he has built, and you have reserved the right to just tap out and do jack shit. Whereas like me, I have not reserved that right yet. I don't have that like
I mean, I bet
game or resources to just be like, I kind of just want to like write a book and like go sailing.
From the standards of a lot of other people who have done it for a lot less than what you have, I bet you could. You just have a different perception because of what you think you need to keep doing in order to
and that might be
maintain the lifestyle.
Might be the same trap that people who work in that capacity fall into, and sure, I might fall into it, but I think if you were to put it on paper, for me to never like work a job again that makes me an income is impossible. Yeah.
Maybe you could, date your family, go write a book in Guam, and talk about your trials and tribulations. And
to anyone listening to this or watching it, you are not wasting your time.
Hey, shut up, Steve. Don't talk them off, dude. Don't talk them down. They're
not wasting
all right, click.
I mean, it's ultimately. I mean, that's kind of. We've talked about this recently. We live in this. I've thought about this. I'm not saying this is fact. I sound like I talk in facts a lot, but it's just all mind exploration and like opinions. Really, the hardest thing that faces human existence today is choice, because we have every single choice. I mean, in America, for people who live on a relatively same parallel as all three of us, right? There's plenty of people existing at the same time who have different disparities, that I can't comprehend. So I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, but like the biggest obstacle in my life is choice. Like, okay, I'm going to choose, even though I can do whatever the hell I want right now. Like I can, if I want to, I can wake up late. I can like drink myself into oblivion. I can eat whatever the hell, like back in, 300, 400, 500 years ago, if you didn't go chop wood, if you didn't go find a wildebeest, you died. Mm-hmm. Like the choice was black and white. It was binary. Nowadays, you don't die. You like can exist pretty much on just kind of existence, really. Mm-hmm. And it's that ability, that choice is, it's an interesting thing to think about, I guess. It's not, it's interesting when Hazen Audell was in here and he was talking about cultures and societies that are that close to survival, they don't deal with mental illness because they're so connected to like the present. What the present is like day in and day out survival. We got to go get firewood. We got to go kill something to eat. We have to build a fire. And then at that point we're exhausted because we've exerted all this energy. Like we have to like take time out of our day. We have to like make our own schedule to go and lift like inanimate heavy objects so that we can like supersede evolution, pump enough weights to exist the way that evolution has like brought us to this point. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest fucking thing ever.
I mean, it's just the natural progression of what the evolution is. I mean, of course you can go back and be like, yeah, that's like what people have done and continue to still do in different cultures. But like, this is just where we've got. Imagine where 100 years will be.
No, of course. I'm not saying it's just an interesting thought experience, an interesting thought experiment that like our ancestors, right? Like were what I would imagine a good amount of the cultures that Hazen visits and sees. Like they were that connected to life and death and survival.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome.
And it was symbiotic, whereas now we're like so disconnected from at least me personally, I am so disconnected from life or death that like I have to schedule out time to get on my bike and get a sweat on. Whereas, right, this same person, Alan, 300 years ago, I would be strapped to that survival, and that would be my exercise and my way and means of survival.
Well, maybe on the opposite side of it, you're actually just more connected to your circumstances of your life's existence. So whereas like these other people, they're connected to their circumstances. So are you. You're not disconnected. You're not detached from
I'm not
the world.
to my.
Like,
I'm not disconnected.
To schedule yourself for a 20-minute bike ride or whatever you're going to do isn't a result of being disconnected. It's being actually so connected to your circumstances that you're like, I gotta just get it in.
But being connected to your circumstances isn't necessarily connected to life or death.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
like
mean,
it's great. I mean, I had a situation in my life recently. We all have, that somebody we knew passed away, and it's shocking. It's like, what? Holy sh! And my heart is so heavy for that situation. But that reality, I've found myself in a place of luck so frequently that hasn't had to deal with that reality, which is mortality. That when it comes about, it's like, it's unbelievably shocking. Thank God. I'm thankful for that. But it is interesting to think about that we live Alan Stone lives such a privileged existence that, like, I have to inhibit what I eat.
that he can call himself Alan Stone.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Like, nope, I'm not going to have that brownie. I can't.
Right.
Like, that's the actual exercise that we are dealing with. That's the experience we're dealing with today. Is like, no, we have to constrict ourselves from the excess of the human experience. We have to constrict ourselves from being on our phone like 6 hours a day. We have to constrict ourselves from just sitting down at the desk and not exercising. We have that is so weird.
Yeah.
That is so weird that we found ourselves in this much of a privileged situation that, like, we have to
Pencil in our lives.
pencil in struggle.
Yeah.
In order to, like, be connected to what the human experience was actually evolved to be connected to.
Struggles, I think, just inherent in whatever it's going to be happening. You don't have to pencil it in. It's going to happen.
Well,
whether you want it to or not.
physical struggle, right? Like, you got to get your heart rate up. You got to, like...
Yeah, you're talking about working out and exercising.
Talking about working out or just getting up, right?
Yeah.
Like, just even if you're...
Right.
We have these wonderful desks from our friends at Fully. Shout out to Fully.
Shout out.
We realize that we owe you a bunch of videos, Fully. So if you're listening to this,
We got you.
We got you. It is still in the docket and the schedule. But they've made these standing up desks, right? That, like, in the last 5 years, I've seen them popping up all over the place. Every company seems to be having these stand up desks. Well, it's because we've evolved into a situation where, like, mass majorities of human beings who are working at a desk, and we're like, well, 8 hours a day sitting down at a desk, bad posture, you better stand up. Mm-hmm. Those little fragments of the human experience and evolution always fascinate me.
Yeah.
Does it fascinate you? Let's just kill the vibe.
Killed it, dude. It's over.
Sweet, dude. Well, crack me another one.
Crack me another one.
Hey, folks. Today, our episode is brought to you in part by our good friends at Ladder Coffee. Head to laddercoffee.com and you can order beans directly from the brewer, as well as some of this beautiful cold brew. Locally owned and operated out of Spokane, Washington. Check it out. Ladder Coffee.
I'm jacked.
Going to Australia soon, man. I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah. I'm it's going to be weird. We're all departing. Steve's not departing.
Steve's staying put.
I'm going to Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah.
I just decided.
What's the situation there? You got to, like, quarantine when you get there? Do they have any laws?
I don't know.
It's wild going to a place like Oz. Like, Australia's like... So you have to have a negative test in order to get on the flight. Mm-hmm. Then once you get into the country, you have to go take another test, go negative, quarantine for 2 weeks, then get another negative test. Which to me, it's like, are you going to catch it on the flight if everybody's negative? I guess maybe the point is that there's a incubation period, right? Where you can still test negative, but... Mm-hmm. Have the virus? Is that the case, Steve?
Yeah. It's that's why those, like, rapid tests aren't super efficient is because a lot of people won't show signs for like 3 days, 4 days, and the rapid tests really only work if you're showing symptoms. And I mean, Australia is already just pretty strict, as it's just an island in a very delicate ecosystem anyways. It's a tough country to get into, period. They're pretty strict about the rules there, which is, fine. That's why they're doing pretty well. And earlier in the episode, you mentioned like the rigid restrictions and stuff that we have here, which is not true, which is why a lot of people still have it. And there's 500,000 people dead. It's because people aren't adhering to safety protocols. Just in my opinion.
Do you agree?
It's interesting because I had a moment the last couple weeks, and this is, I'm wading into really murky waters because I don't want things to come off disheartening for people who've like legitimately suffered or lost someone from this. So that's not my attempt, but to be full frontal honest with the way I've been feeling over just even the last couple of days. It's just to be fully transparent, annoying, because I don't have any fear of this thing. Now, granted, that's once again me wearing my privilege on my sleeve a little bit, but the bugger to me about the situation, and granted, it's a new disease, and so I don't think very many people fully comprehend what's happening or going on. But I was looking on the CDC website yesterday. I didn't realize this, but like in 2018, 500,000 people died from tobacco-related illnesses in our country. This is not to compare the two, but we've been living with something just as deadly as COVID since the beginning of America. America got its place in the world because of the tobacco leaf. And we've been living with this thing constantly. We don't hear, I mean, granted, we've stigmatized smoking, but still it's around, like doing the thing and taking people out. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I think I've specifically over just the last couple weeks having 2 or 3 situations that were scares, like COVID scares. Like, okay, we got to shut the thing down. We got to like test everybody, and that's seemingly happened
Every time we've done something.
Every time we've tried to accomplish anything during this pandemic, we've had some sort of scare. I don't know. I just like hit my like COVID exhaustion peak. It was like 6 months, 7 months in. I was like, that's all right. We'll work around it. Like keep going. And then the last couple of days, I've just been like, I'm so over this.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't, like I said, I don't mean to sound unsympathetic, because I do understand
right.
that like this thing has ravaged humans and it's taken people's life. And so I don't want to downplay it, but in full transparency, I'm just like, just exhausted.
All right. Well, I mean, you have a point of view coming from a place of trying to coordinate with more people than just yourself, and you're trying to like manage that appropriately, responsibly, in the best way that you can, while adhering to the policies of this virus.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's frustrating in and of itself, just to have to deal with it. And then when the scares come, it just like, totally throws a wrench in the process of trying to actually create what you're trying to create. And it just makes it hard. So like, I understand where that comes from for yourself. So
yeah, that's a justifiable annoyance, but you're also like, you're sensitive to it and you adhere to the rules, which is the responsible thing to be doing.
I mean, yes, I adhere to the rules as best as I possibly can, but my perspective, which I wouldn't say is an incredibly informed one, I'm not reading up on as many things as possible. Honestly, because the first 3 months of this situation, I just gave up on anybody knowing what the hell they were talking about, because the people we were supposed to look to for information were constantly changing their tune. Now, granted, they were learning new information at the same rate. Like it's a brand new virus, obviously, so they're learning things as they go as well. But I have done my best to follow and adhere to guidelines that are safe, but I don't wear my face mask at home.
I don't think anybody
Like I
does.
walk through my front door and I pull my face mask off. And I'm, trusting that like every single package that comes to my house hasn't been infected. And I'm trusting that the food at the grocery store hasn't been breathed on. And I'm trusting, like, there's so many things that are out of my control that I have to utilize in order to stay alive in this country that it's still, I don't know, man. It's like, yes and no. Like I'm doing the best I possibly can, but
Yeah.
but ultimately it's still so fucking annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you also made a point earlier this morning about recognizing that, it is, although it is annoying to have to be dealing with all of the things that you're having to deal with as a result of this pandemic, you're also doing the things as a result of pandemic.
Yeah, it's an interesting juxtaposition because I'm glad to have this time to like regroup and learn new things and create new things and be around you guys and be up here in this attic and that's all. If it wasn't for this pandemic, that wouldn't be possible. But I'm also like, I'm not over the time that I'm being allotted during COVID, but I'm over everybody's concern about COVID.
Yeah.
Not, and that comes off like that can be interpreted really negatively. I do still think that we need to be safe and concerned about this thing. I'm just expressing my personal like tipping point. Like I lost it today. I'm just like so over it. It makes me just want to like throw the towel in, give up, and just like live in my basement for.
Come on to Puerto Rico with me.
No, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to Australia. I'm not going to just like staying in my basement and just giving up. Like that's like where I reached this afternoon was just like, fuck it, I'm done.
What does giving up look like for you if as a hypothetical?
Oh God. I don't know. I'm not good with like doing nothing. I can't just do nothing. I have to like maintain some sort of busyness. I think it helps with the how undisciplined my mind is. But I don't know. Have you guys gotten to that point during this pandemic where you're just like, yeah, done. I'm over it.
You can go, Steve, if you have something to say.
No, I don't think I've reached a point of where I'm just like super over it. I think when I get to a point like that, I go back to being thankful for those opportunities you aforementioned as far as being able to take advantage of the time and being productive in it. And then but again, it's different for me because I am limited for who I see anyways. And I don't know. I mean, again, it's tough. I think I've gone back and forth a few times for sure as far as the like, I'm fucking over this. It doesn't make any sense. It hasn't affected me personally. But then I go back to being like, okay, well, it is affecting a lot of people and I can only be responsible to a point for myself and everybody else. And I think that's just important to do in general.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I mean, it's tough. Like you're saying, if I had a perfect answer, I'd say it, but I just don't.
Yeah, I think I ironically appreciate who I am more in this pandemic based on what I have afforded myself to become through the circumstances of this pandemic by doing these things with you guys, by like starting my own like kind of creative momentum prior to coming out here with you guys and just kind of getting this new, like trying to explore my own creative voice in a new way because I was afforded the time and space to do that. And so it's really strange to feel like like, and I've kind of overcome the shame surrounding it of being like, I honestly feel like better because of what I have been capable of doing as a result of this pandemic. I'm honestly more nervous about when the pandemic is over and things are back to normal, because it's going to be a whole nother adjustment period. Like, nobody's ever just like, everybody wants what they can't have, right? So it's like, and the grass is always greener on the other side. So it's like, oh God, I just wish this pandemic was over. The pandemic's over, and then we're back to the life that we had prior to the pandemic, or a more kind of like restricted, whatever, like a different type of molded version of what our lives are going to look like because of what the world turns into thereafter. I haven't really gotten annoyed with it that much because I've just been so thrilled to take. I think I've always been just like wanting not a global pandemic, but to have the time and space to like drop out of the momentum that I was putting forth my energy in other areas and to just figure out myself. And I think this year has allowed me to do that. And so for that reason, I'm not responsible for like a handful of other people like you are in
I
your
think that's
business.
probably where my fatigue comes in.
Yeah.
My fatigue doesn't come from, and I think the fatigue comes from, Steve, you and I have talked about this before. Every time this thing comes up, I call you. I'm like, hey, what's your temperature?
Yeah.
And not like, what's your physical temperature?
Yeah.
But like, how are you feeling? Are you afraid? Do
emotional
you not
temperature?
want to come into work today? Like, what? Tell me the honest thing, because it's up to you. I'm not going to be the guy who's like, you better get in here.
Mm-hmm.
We got work to do, right? Like, I want every single human being that I surround myself with to be there on their own volition, right? And so I offer that up to every single human, but it's always the roadblock I run into, which is the tricky part about this pandemic, is that everybody who I've come into, who we've had scares with, has always gone, I got the sniffles. It's never affected anybody like in my close proximity really deeply, which taints my view on the pandemic and leads me into this place where I'm just like, I'm so fed up with this thing. Because every time I'm like knocked off my horse when I'm in a straight gallop, it's because somebody like has a headache, right? And has tested positive for this thing. And I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to that might sound like I'm downplaying. I'm just simply giving the transparent perspective that comes across the front of my bow when going through these types of situations, that is like led me to today just being like, I'm fucking over it. I'm done. Get me to Australia and get me out of this fucking country.
Yeah, that's why
I'm
we got
tired doing this goddamn creative shit. Like, and that's not the case. I don't actually feel that sitting in this chair right now.
Yeah.
I'm giving everybody the perspective of how I felt this morning and this afternoon, pre-taking a COVID test, and being like, okay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's made a thing that's already really fucking hard to do, right? It's like really fucking hard to do these shows we've been doing together. It's really hard to like write. It's really hard to just get up the audacity to like put something together that you have no idea if anybody's gonna buy, right? You're like, I'm gonna put in 1,000 hours on this thing, and I'm just gonna hope that people pay for it. That's already hard in itself, let alone trying to do it while dealing with this unbelievably unfortunate virus. Yeah, I just had a moment today where it's just like,
I've had
so
those moments
mad.
too. I think with me, those moments have come the hardest when I'm like accepting the new normal. I think that those are the times when it's hit me the hardest.
Explain that.
I mean, like, the things that have hit me the hardest is just accepting that this is the reality and this is the change, and I can't just go on being free-willed and doing what I've been doing for 30-something years of my life. Like, accepting the new normal, which is what we're functioning in now, is what you'd have to consider the normal, right? Even though it's not normal, but accepting the reality has been the times where that's hit me the hardest as far as like, oh, I'd like to go see my parents. I can't do that. Or just those little things, where you're adapting to, again, this thing that is the new normal, but it doesn't feel that way. But I thought like, okay, well now for the rest of my life when I travel, I'll wear a mask just in case. And those kinds of things are the things that have hit me personally the hardest, because I haven't been directly affected with a COVID victim. So those things are the things where my head swells up a little bit and I'm just like, fuck, this is the new normal.
Yeah.
When's it going to go back to what I considered normal? Does that
Right,
make
but
sense?
yeah, totally. Yeah, I that makes absolute sense. Yeah, my thing is just is also connected to the new normal, but also at the beginning of this pandemic, I had so much like, and I'm still thankful for it, because I think I've stretched some muscles during this pandemic that like I'll just take to my grave. Like the things that I've learned how to do and pull off during this whole thing, like I'm so thankful for. But at the beginning of this thing, I was like, oh, I had a little twinkle in my eye, because I was like, oh yeah, I can see it. I can see it, man. People are going to just like really tune into my shit and like pay attention and pay me, and we're going to all...
We had a good year planned.
Next year, we're going to... this time next year, bro, we're going to be swimming in it. We're going to have so many cool things going. This thing will be straightened out. We'll have festivals. We'll have movies out. We'll have podcasts. We'll be just swimming in capital. We'll be bikinis. We all get money bikinis, right? And
I'm
then
buying a bikini barista stand.
And then that, like, obviously, right? Just like what expectations normally do to you, which is completely let you down. That doesn't happen the way that you thought it could or expected it to, while also like dealing with just the annoyance of this pandemic. It's like, I think that's where my frustration set in. And
but your expectations outside of a pandemic remain the same. Like 2 years ago, you still were like, all right, this next tour, like this is going to be the one. We're going to be swimming in it at the end. We're going to be making movies. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing that. And so like, again, the grass is always greener, and
it's like a moving target kind of. I'm constantly moving that
It's
target.
always going to be that way, and we're always going to find reasons to complain about what the situation is that we're currently in, because it's never going to be what we actually expected to it until we start to learn how to manage our own expectations and realize like that this is awesome. Like what we're doing is awesome. And also something that I was kind of listening to you talk about, like having all these people that you are seemingly kind of responsible for because they're a product of your business and what you're trying to cultivate in the world and put out towards your positive impact, which is all a great thing. I guess hopefully what it gives you perspective on is, wow, like I rely on people to help me. And when you can't rely on them, that's when you get annoyed, right? And so it's not a bad thing, because it's like, it just goes to show like, wow, I have like a lot of really awesome people in my camp who are doing like really great things with and for me. And like I appreciate those human beings, because when I don't have access to them, I realize that like I become like a little bit more tense, because I have like created this thing around people and like and a business that doesn't just, yes, like you are the core value of your world and what you create, and you could be doing all this stuff on your own, but it's just like, man, having these great people around who are contributing in their own way is a big deal, and it really helps. And that's probably where the frustration comes from. It's just like, I don't have access to these people that I like was hoping to rely on. And
yeah, well, no, it's not that. I think it's yes, it is in terms. It is feeling like I don't have access to, but it's not having access to them because of something that is like, was just every day a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. It's like a little headache and some sniffles was fine. I mean, how many times, Steve, have you seen me get on stage like with 103 temperature and sing my ass off and sing through a sickness? Now, because there's this new coronavirus out here that 99.9% of people who get this thing are fine from, we have to quarantine for 10 days. We have to like then be cautious after the like. It just throws so much more problems into a thing that like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago wouldn't have been a problem, right?
Yeah.
Like literally every single tour that I go on, I get sick usually in the middle of it.
Well, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it still would have been a problem had it be the same thing.
Right, but it wasn't a problem 2 years ago, but you would still get sick.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just everyday life when you're on the road. Like just, Steve, you all right, man? He's like, oh yeah, dude, it's like a head cold.
Yeah.
I got a head cold. Okay, cool, man. We'll drink, take your zinc, take care of yourself, make sure you're getting sleep. Let's fucking kick it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it going. Because because it's a different virus. I do realize that I'm talking about a different virus. I realize it's a different reality. But what I'm talking from right now is like I wish I had like a better analogy of, we talked about this earlier, is that it'd be like if you were the greatest player on a team and everybody else on your team didn't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. And you were like, why am I even trying? Like, why I'm putting so much effort forth, but I'm being held back by all these other players on the squad. Myself personally, I don't want to seem like I'm disregarding other people who would be affected negatively from this thing, because I don't. I want them to maintain safety. I want them to be safe, and that's why I do my best to be safe. But in a glitch of responsible perspective, I can reach a boiling point when I'm like, I just feel like I'm being held. Like, none of the people who are around me are worried about this thing, are worried about getting sick. Everybody that I know has gotten it and kicked it fine. Even my mother, who's like going through chemotherapy, but yet our entire world is being restricted because of, so once again, understanding, as folks at home who are listening to this, that is a lapse of judgment, and I don't stand behind that perspective, but I've reached that place a few times, and today was one of them, where I'm just like, I've had it.
Yeah.
I'm fucking over it. I'm so over this thing. Like, and to help people understand why I reached that, like I had that lapse in judgment and felt that way. That's the best way I can describe it. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys at all.
It makes a lot of sense,
it does,
man. It makes a lot of sense. It doesn't.
I think a lot of people are in those shoes.
I think the majority of the people are in those shoes, but being over it doesn't mean shit, because it's not.
No,
it's not
I know.
over.
I know. It's just, and we were talking about it yesterday. Like when I was venting, I was just like, listen, I don't feel this way, you guys, and I just need to get this off of my body, because I just it's in here.
Yeah,
it's in my body, and I don't like it in my body. I gotta get rid of it.
I always will encourage you to get it off your body, dude.
Yeah,
you always have that, and whether you want to express that on the podcast to people who are listening and can weigh their own perspective, or just feel like, oh wow, like I kind of agree or I disagree, whatever, like, or you just want to pull me aside and be like, hey dude, I'm fucking pissed, I want to punch you in the face. Go for it. I mean, whatever you choose to do. Punch me in the face, dude. You just got a coupon to punch Guadalupe Paldonis. Premium content, dude.
No, there's no face punching. Just talk it out. I mean, that's like, right? Isn't that one of the greatest, the greatest reflections of human development is conversation, right? Because it used to be, before we had language, it was just violence. Mm-hmm. Like before we had the capability to sit down and non-violently discuss things.
Gangs of New York.
It was just bloodbaths.
Yeah.
Well, there was love there too. Thus humans.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't go back far enough to see like when like romantic love, like the concept of that was really brought up. But I do have a slight feeling that like it was just barbaric getting rape for a while. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but
love.
I'm sure it existed, but I would imagine that like with, like right now the norm in Western culture is like love and romance, where I feel like it was probably an age in human experience and history where it was flip-flopped, where it was like like the love and romance tip was like few and far between, and the other tip was like Chinese emperor. Oh, what was that guy's name? Genghis Khan. Did you hear about his story? Have you ever studied him much?
A little bit, yeah.
Genghis Khan, baby.
A good gas.
Mongol Empire, 3 times the size of the British Empire.
3 times the size of British Empire.
Roman Empire.
I was listening to there's this podcast called Hardcore History with this guy Dan Carlin, and on his podcast he says that if you were to test the DNA of 100,000 Asian people from Asia, which is essentially where Genghis Khan like ruled for the time that he did, a quarter of them would be descendants of Genghis Khan.
Horses and bows and arrows and just, Mongolia down into Asia and Russia, dude. He owned it, all of it.
Straight owned it.
Savage.
Obviously talking out of my ass. For everyone at home, I am an idiot. I just want you to know that I am a complete idiot.
Let's let people make their own minds up on that.
No. I'm not going to let them make their own minds up on that because you heard it from
all right.
You heard it from the horse himself. I am an idiot, and nothing that I say on this show you need to take with validity. It's just my personal experience.
Wow, dude, look it up, Al. Look how big it is.
Look, what's that?
Just type in just Mongolian Empire.
Mongol Empire. Oh my God.
Images.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
That's what homie was ruling back in the day.
Don't worry, Spokane's not in there, guys. We're safe.
Yeah.
Bro, and he was just raping and pillaging Kiev.
I bet. Well,
that's insane.
Love won out, fellas. Love won out.
Love won out for sure.
Love won out, but it had a few shitty years.
For sure, man.
Still
That's what
is.
makes it. That's what strengthens it, baby.
It's like it was like the era of Paul McCartney in the 80s. It was like had a few years in there that you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it. That's what makes it as special as it is nowadays.
oh,
It's
Dean,
also
you were on one today, and I just
Dean.
want to put you in my pocket. And
Thank you. Just take me down to the promenade
Supposed to
and give me some
ciders.
sips of milk.
I just want to take you down to the creek and skip you.
I just like love, man. I don't like hate. I don't like fighting. I don't like getting in trouble.
All right, folks. Well, that has been the show today, and we're just gonna send you off with the utmost expression of love and kindness right here, Mr. Doug Patrick Gavilanis. If you have not seen this video yet, I encourage you to go to the YouTube page and watch this wonderful human. We love you very much, and we hope you're doing well out there. Sub that one.
Look at the smile.
Yes.
I have that shirt.
Happy birthday, mi hijo lindo. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to play this instrument very well. I'm learning it just for you. I hope you get to see your bank account. Take a look. It'll be a nice little surprise.
So
Oh, we love all you guys, man.
Love you
Stay
guys.
well, stay blessed, and stay tuned. Oh, boo-boo, did you just make it to the end of the video? Yes, you did. Do you want to see more videos just like this one? Do you?
Well, then head over to patreon.com/live at the lodge, where you can support the How Goods of this podcast, as well as the entire Live at the Lodge family.
Yep, yeah, you're going to get exclusive merch, personalized shout-out videos. Me and Jules, we're going to show up at your house and baptize your nephew, huh? Check it out, patreon.com/live at the lodge.